Hello again, my friends. This is Wake Angel 2001 coming at you with the second the second figure that was sent to me in the care package by Zach. It is Heavy King. And oh wow, like I'm just looking at this guy. It looks so spectacular and I haven't even got it out of the package yet. So it is part of the classic line, as you can see by the classic Sonic up in the corner. And just like I showed in the unboxing video, they show off the figure's articulation, the other figures that it comes with, another re-release of Sonic, this one with the basic smile, the single-carded version of Classic Knuckles, although it was released in a 3-pack right before this, and of course Metal Sonic 3.0, which every indication is that this is simply a repaint of the original Metal Sonic mold. They haven't done anything to improve the mold itself. All they did was repaint it. But yeah, we'll get... I don't have this one in hand right now. We'll get to it when we get to it. So his description is the leader of the hard-boiled heavies. Heavy King walks tall and carries a big scepter, and it is listed as having the scepter as his accessory. So let's get him out of this blister card and take a look at something really cool, because I really love Heavy King. And here is Heavy King out of the packaging, looking pretty amazing. Yeah, like he is the full package. That's so Heavy King. It just bleeds everywhere. He has this awesome cape. It is sculpted on a hard material, but it is softer and a little more flexible than the rest of the plastic. Same as the part of his shoulder cloak that comes above. The shoulder pads are made out of a much harder plastic. So yeah, different plastic qualities used for different levels of needed flexibility. Like for example, his head crest, it's just soft enough that it'll give a little bit if you press on it, so it won't snap off. But as you can see, it is very straight and resilient. It's not gummy and it's not going to lose its shape over time. So yeah, like perfect plastic tolerances used everywhere. They use a metal flecked yellow plastic for like the scepter and his chest piece to make it look really brilliant and gold. Same thing is used on his toes. Although like there is also gold paint. So there are parts of them that are painted gold and parts that are molded in gold plastic. At first I thought his hand was supposed to go in between these two things on the scepter, but when they did, the end of the scepter went down below his feet and he wouldn't have been able to stand unless he was holding the scepter up above his head. So yeah, I think this is where he's meant to hold the scepter. This bead on the end of the scepter seems to be a solid plastic ball. Do not put this thing on a display shelf where the sun's going to go through it, because I'm afraid that it might act as a magnifying glass and focus the light into a superheated point that'll start a fire. I'm not going to test that here, but I just feel like there's a possibility that it might pull that off. Okay, so we discussed how amazing the paint job is. His sculpt work is fantastic. Let's do the articulation. He has a swiveling head. It takes the entire collar with it, so you don't have to worry about him looking into the collar and blinding himself. Again, no pupils painted in his eyes. That just seems to be the aesthetic they're going with. The shoulder pads do not move, but his shoulders have plenty of range through them. They just have to go slightly outwards when they go up far enough. Universal shoulders, elbow bends, swivel at the elbow and swivel at the wrist. Same on both arms. With this, yeah. And the joints do have some soft detents in there. They're ratcheted so that he can hold poses very well, if you want to have him gesticulating with his scepter. Hips are a little bit weird. They have outward movement very easily. Forward and back, it's a little wonky because they get caught up in the sculpt of his skirts. Although I guess this isn't too bad, because it's not like Heavy King is known for having a high kick. Like he's never really a physical fighter type rope mecha. He's more of the stand back and command kind of things. And when he actually fights, the Phantom Ruby turns him into like a big, into a different form. Like he doesn't fight in this form is what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, like the sculpting, posability, accuracy, everything on this guy is amazing. It is a absolutely fantastic figure. It looks amazing, and I love everything about it. So all that's left now is the comparison stuff. Here he is next to Heavy Gunner, and this kind of makes him look a little bit undersized, because here in the representing the toys, they are eye to eye, but I think we're running into the same problem we did with Amy Rose, in that this is a character that should be taller, but they made him the same size as everyone else. Just like how Amy Rose was a character that was supposed to be shorter, but she was the same size as everyone else. Although, if anything, I think maybe they made this guy too big. Like, he should be, like, a little bit shorter next to Heavy King, and Heavy King is actually the right size. Which I say because he's just about the same height as classic Dr. Eggman, and this seems to be exactly the scale that they should be in. So it leads me to believe that this one is the one that's properly sized, and Heavy Gunner is just too big. By a slight amount, granted, but you know, just a little bit. Here he is next to a standard Egg Robo, and these actually look pretty good. They're almost exactly the same height, but because of the different proportions, Egg Robo doesn't look overscaled. For example, if you look at their hands are actually about the same size. So like if you take those hands as a point of reference, on these guys, they look the same, but then Heavy Gunner's hand is much bigger, so that's what makes you, that the size of the hand is what leads me to believe that Gunner is just a little bit overscaled. That and the diameter of his eyes. Heavy Gunner has much larger eyes when you compare it to the other two. And here he is next to modern Eggman. Although doing this, we're kind of breaking the rule of intersecting the classic and modern universes. Because Gunner is the hard-boiled heavies are characters that exist solely in classic timeline and not modern. So, yeah, you probably aren't going to be keeping these directly next to each other on display. So, in conclusion, Heavy Gunner is... Heavy King is an amazing figure. Jakks Pacific continues to knock it out of the park with this 4-inch Sonic the Hedgehog line, especially considering the price point of only $10, with inflation making so many collectible items so much more expensive these days. It's really cool that we can still get figures of this quality at this price point. Yeah, like, I know I don't really bring up the price points very often, but it really is something special with this particular line. I really hope that Jakks is able to continue to give us these guys to this quality without having to bump up the price in the future. Yeah, so that we got 3 more members of the Hard-Boiled Heavies to go. Mac the Weasel, or, you know, Fang the Hunter, as his modern name is, because he's a Jerboa, not a weasel. And, you know, there's still a whole bunch of characters that they could potentially make. The line, you could say the line is successful and end it today, but there's reasons to keep it going for years to come. So let's hope that Jakks Pacific keeps this train moving. This is Wake Angel 2001 signing off.